Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Hello.
And today we're going to be doing another nonsense retrospective after dark. But before we get too far into what we're doing today, let's do our time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And do you have one for me today?
I do. A bit of behind the scenes. Our originals got scrubbed, so I've tweaked my original so Rick has to think again.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations. You get to make, or rather commission Lego to make one not safe for work Lego kit. What do you pick and why?
Ooh,
Rick thought he was going to coast on the coattails of his previous answer, which he could just use again.
I could, but I don't know if those actually, okay, yeah, it would actually be pretty good because they've done the same thing for other IPs and it generally sells. When we did the previous question and my answer was Vivzy Pop stuff, this actually is a pretty good answer. So you've got both Blitz's office and you've got Has Been Hotel as locations, and then you've got all the little characters which would look really cute.
Yes,
and then you could have like a big...
Gotta pick one.
It's got to be Hell of a Boss, isn't it? Because there's more of it.
Well, yeah, but when I said one, I mean a specific kit. You don't get to make a whole range, just one thing.
Ooh, that's also difficult. I'm blanking.
Like, Imp Headquarters probably isn't a bad one, considering the amount of stuff that occurs in there. Like, if you make use of a full 3D scene, you've got quite a bit of stuff you can stuff in there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Like, you've got just Imp HQ, you've also got Verosica, because they're over the road. Pick any customer, probably one of the ones from Season 1.
They haven't really done much work in Season 2 yet.
No, they haven't.
In fact, I don't think they've done a single job.
No. Now that we mention it, yeah. I don't think they've actually done anything related to their actual role.
Because when I think of interactivity and the Imp Headquarters, I immediately think the wacky inventor that bursts through the wall twice and kills Moxie.
Yes.
Yeah.
The two wacky inventors that burst through the wall. They're a very good customer to have. And then because it's that episode, you've got the angels that pop down.
Yeah, they don't appear in hell though. Again, you can't have the whole landscape. You have to narrow it down more than not at all.
Sure, but like if it's an episode's worth, then having like
I don't think you know how Lego works.
Yeah, okay, but when you get a big set like The Simpsons, you get things that are like tangentially related, like Ned Flanders and Apu and things like that. When you get them in the sets that they start with, but yeah. I think Imp HQ is a pretty good one. So apologies for it taking a long time for me to get my one thought out of my my zero brain. So how about you? What would you pick?
Would it be cheating to say the Bible black? Could you fucking imagine that in Lego? Oh, fuck a doodle dandy. No, but for real though, I'm just going to do exactly what you did and steal my answer from before, and that be interspecies reviewer. I want a life-size Lego kit, 1-to-1 ratio of the fairy receptionist. Or pixie, I'm not entirely sure what she is.
She might be a pixie, because I think fairy might be something else that they come across later on in the series, but it's by the by. I
think she's a fairy, but I got to be honest with you, the distinction between fairy and pixie in most franchises is minimal at best.
Yeah.
But what about you? Do you have a question?
Yeah. Again, behind the scenes, we did this. We scrubbed a recording. I'm using the same question. You get to pick a language. You get instant mastery. What do you pick?
Yeah, I said before it's going to be Polish, because while the classic weeb answer is, I want to speak Japanese fluently, it's like, that's such a non-practical skill for me to have.
Yeah.
And one of the beauties of learning an Eastern European language is you can kind of feel your way through other ones if you know one of them.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but
it's a bit like learning Latin. It's like the key to other Western European languages is Latin. So if you know that, you can unlock most of them.
I don't think that's accurate.
I mean, it kind of is.
I don't think if you know Latin, you can all of a sudden feel your way through most European languages.
You get a feel for the structure.
I think that's a different level to what I'm talking about. Eastern European languages share such a core sort of rule set. You can kind of bullshit your way through other languages. Whereas if you know Latin, you can't bullshit. Just by knowing Latin, you don't gain the ability to bullshit your way through other languages. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Anyway, what about you?
Yeah, for me, it would be a coding language.
All right, so you decided to pick this question so you could pull the rug out from under me and do a bullshit one. Go on, you bastard.
Because yeah, again, similar to not picking Japanese because can watch anime without subs. That's not a big deal because there's already people who are doing that straight away, and I know enough Japanese to be able to just listen and intone intent.
So I've got a question for you, Rick, because saying a coding language is definitely cheating. What coding language would you pick?
Well, I think C is probably going to be the big one because anything that's written in anything else is normally based on something like C.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So once you know that, you've got basically the skeleton of code, and then it's easier to learn other ones based on that, and also just being able to use engines is helped by having general coding knowledge. I say this because when I tried to learn code, it was so alien to me that my lizard brain couldn't parse it. So
well, you just unlocked a bit of a memory, Rick, because back in the early days of my learning, we finally had IT as pretty much a compulsory thing you had to do in secondary school. And one of the things we had to do was design a website, except you didn't actually code it yourself. You used a program that just made a website for you, and you'd put buttons and GIFs where you wanted. It was not teaching you what they thought it was teaching you. Someone gave that lesson as if, make the children do this. It will teach them how to do X, Y, Z, and it didn't teach you jack shit.
Yep.
Just drag this button here. You click this button and it links to here. It's the skeleton blowing a trumpet GIF.
Everyone just reproduces also skeleton blowing a trumpet, or the hamster dance, or the dancing baby, or whatever, all that shit.
Early days of the internet was not a fun time for kids.
No.
I mean, I think we might have been the first generation exposed to Goatsy and Lemon Party and stuff like that, at an age where we should not have been exposed to Goatsy and Lemon Party and that.
Yeah. I remember it was like an urban legend of people that just knew what websites were, because this was like, I'm pretty sure this was pre-Google when we did IT, but like the school had the internet, but you had to go on one of the computers that had the internet to use it.
Sure. No, everything had the internet by the time we were.
You could tell which one was Windows 3.0 and which one was Windows 3.1. Or if you were really lucky, you got to use the 4 Windows 95 computers.
Sure. It was post 2000 by the time I was in secondary school, Rick.
Yeah.
For a bit of context, like Windows 99 had come and gone. I think Windows XP was the one of the day. That being said, boys, it's a boring tangent. Let's go.
Okay, so we're doing another adult fighter today. We're taking 6 characters from adult R18, R-rated, X-rated, M-rated franchises and putting them into a fantasy fighting game a la Smash Brothers. But I think we settled on that it would more likely be something more along the lines of Street Fighter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would play like a Street Fighter. The only reason we use Smash Bros as a baseline was it's a massive crossover. That being said, we're treating this as if it's our Street Fighter 2, so essentially, here's the new characters added to the roster, however, the baseline roster from before persists. I don't know if we've got the rule that says we can't double up on franchises for this, but I treated my list as if we did. Yeah,
so I didn't make that rule, but we can kind of abide by it, because I think there's one that we'd both pick anyway. If it wasn't in there.
I'm curious to hear what you'd say for this, because I didn't even think about it.
I'm going to open with it then. So because I didn't have the rule, I've got it as one of my things, and I've got some extras just in case. Just in case we have some crossover.
Okay, I think we should go forward with the rule, though, at least for this episode.
So, pick number 0, then, is Queen Bee, Elzebub.
Oh, okay, sure.
Because she's fresh in everyone's mind, she's got a fantastic design, and she looks like she could really throw hands if need be. So, now that that's out of the way, who's going to be your number 1 pick?
My number 1 pick is someone who got excluded from the first round based on a technicality, and that technicality being that you pick the artist and not the video game character.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm picking Rance from Sengoku Rance.
Okay.
Yeah, Sengoku Rance is basically a hentai series. They keep saying it's a combination between that and a strategy game, but the game side of things is very lackluster, because of course it is, they care more about the porn.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the gimmicks is, while Rance can kind of hold his own in a fight, he's, not as impressive as the girls that he constantly fucks.
Man, I think I've seen some of these cutscenes.
Oh, almost definitely
on Dailymotion. Dailymotion.
I don't think they're animated. I think they're usually what most H games do, and that is, here's a 2D slide, here's some description and moaning going on in the background. Oh, here's the cum shot. So now there's a couple more extra lines on the fucking on the CG.
Oh yeah, and here's the sound of someone like punching and squelching around in some jelly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those real depressing things that if you don't immediately click the first time you watch a hentai, that's all that's going on for most of the scene. Just you got that constant wet scrouching sound that sounds more like slimes than actual fucking.
Oh yeah.
They just
squelch.
They just contacted the team from Dragon Quest rather than actually record noises. But yeah, and then you got shout out to hentai voice actresses, because boy do they give it their all, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Rance would be pretty simple. He'd be basically sword and board. Most of his attacks would involve him swinging his sword. I don't know.
Yeah, it's nice to get someone in one of these where their actual fighting style is very simple.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that they're from something where they get the dick out a lot.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I don't know what his super would be. I think his super might be a cut-in where I think it's Nobunaga, or the game's representation of Nobunaga, that just, despite Rance being a horrible piece of shit, she just wants his dick, and she's incredibly competent. So I think perhaps she comes in and actually does the job. And yeah, I haven't thought about it too hard, because again, it's a sword fighter. Like, just take Marth's moveset from Smash.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my first pick. What about you? You actually boasted the other day that you don't think that there's any chance of me crossing over with you.
Less that, and more the case that I had 8. One of them is now crossed off.
Okay.
I think another one is going to get crossed off. I'm going to go with something that I'm pretty sure you don't know exists. Larry from Leisure Suit Larry.
What do you mean don't know exists? Of course I know that exists. I remember looking at the case of that in Choice's rental store thinking, what the fuck is that?
Why is that an 18? Why does his head look like that? He's like a Jimmy Neutron with babes.
It did not look good.
No. And they've kept making them. Apparently there's only been one of them that has been like actually R-rated.
Yeah, that makes sense. It always seemed more like kind of Playboy levels, you know, where they make crude and crass jokes, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's like Carry On Playboy kind of thing.
Carry On might be a good way of doing it. Like, Carry On's like tongue-in-cheek camp, you know, but you know, if you just turn it like 12 degrees dirtier, then it just becomes disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, because you've got all these you just got all these old people trying to fuck each other, which is fine, except that the ones they're trying to fuck are normally like young ones, like a young Barbara Windsor.
They weren't old at the time. Well, Sid James was, but I think Sid James has been 50 since he was 20.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm saying Sid James being the old one because he's the one that was very definitely like 20, 30, 40 years older than everyone else, and he's also the dirtiest.
Yeah, that's fair, but at the same time, god damn, I think I had a crush on Barbara Windsor as a kid.
You were meant to. She was our Dolly Parton.
Was she?
Just not as good.
She wasn't a horrible person, so...
No, she wasn't a horrible person. We're comparing a nice person to an actual saint.
That's a good way of putting it. But yeah, Carry On Tangent. That could be a fucking Carry On title. But I digress. That aside, how would you make Larry fit into a fighting game? Because as far as I'm aware, he doesn't really fight.
Yeah, I'd make him more of a trickster and a joke character. So mostly he'd be dealing with counterattack damage and being small. So if you're launching an attack, he would do increased damage while you're attacking just by being a gross little shit.
That sounds like the most frustrating character that would be banned from Evo.
Yeah, maybe so. And there's millions of places that you could put him. I think he's normally like in a university or something like that. Or just, trying to hump his way through the sorority and mostly failing because it's Leisure Suit Larry. But but yeah, how about you? Who's your number 2 pick?
My number 2 pick is an artist of some renown. They go by the name of Shadman. Are you familiar with Shadman?
Shadman himself.
Second,
To a degree, yeah. Are you going to go with Shadman himself?
Yes, because his persona is better than his. Well, actually, in real life, by the way, guys, he has been sent to prison or jail at least once for carrying a weapon he should not have been carrying. Never mind the fact that some of his artwork is questionable at best.
Yeah.
He used to have a thing for, I think her name was Pinkamene.
Pokimane.
No. A YouTuber, an actual YouTuber, a person, not a VTuber.
Oh, Pokimane's not. I guess she is a VTuber now, but she wasn't always.
Either way, he had a thing for her, and he drew a lot of comics of her, which I don't know ever got to her, but I don't think she'd appreciate. He also draws a lot of femboy stuff and futa stuff, and he had a phase where he really had a thing for Mrs. Incredible doing stuff to Violet.
Yep.
Which, a bit weird. But, the guy uses a very interesting avatar, very unique, shall we say. It's basically a dude wearing a skull bandana and a hat. A bit like Matt McMuscles from The Best Friends, but a completely different vibe.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, his moveset would be pretty generic. I'd give him a baseball bat. It just seems like it fits. And I'd probably make him play like Negan from Tekken.
Okay. I've not played much Tekken at all.
Yeah, that's not a problem. It's a lot of punches and kicks that combo into bat moves. As for his finisher, I don't know what it would be. I really don't. It's a bit difficult to do one of those for an artist, but yeah. And I think his win frame would be quite obvious, is that he just draws a quick sketch of the character he beat getting fucked by Futa Miss Incredible.
Yep.
I don't know if we get the rights to that, but who gives a fuck? Rick, who's your second pick?
My second pick is going to be one that's probably going to infuriate you because I think you might have picked him. I'm going with Stunk from Interspecies Reviewers.
Motherfucker, it was next on my list.
Yeah. My little note is that being an adventurer is kind of an afterthought, despite him being fucking OP and canonically having saved the world.
Or at least the country they're in.
Yeah, they bring that up as like a little side gag that the party just went off, had to earn some money, so they just like did the highest level quest possible.
Yeah, because they need money to bang more sucky girls.
Yep. I think he is more of a generic adventurer. He is also a noble, ain't he? So he's
a noble, but he doesn't like talking about it.
Yeah.
And again, just for icing on the cake, he is a definite degenerate. However, when he paid that super mega bucks to have a day with, I think it was actually a few days with that magician lady, his ultimate fantasy was to just act out being husband and wife.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the sorceress lady who sends out her clones.
Yeah.
And then her clones just go back to her after they're done.
The clones exist until they're worn out and then they fade.
Yep.
That being said, there is a great parody image of, everyone knows that image by now, of Sauron being spoken to by Spider-Man of, I don't want to cure cancer, I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
Yep.
So they've taken that, except they've changed it to the sorcerer lady who goes, I don't want to cure cancer, I want to suck a lot of dick.
Yep.
Don't isolate that phrase.
So she goes to suck dick by proxy. But yeah, he's I think he was basically a slam dunk. Obviously, you also picked him as well. So, yeah. Who's going to be your number 3?
My number 3 is going to be a real iffy one. So much so that I won't blame you for vetoing it. But I think it fits.
Go ahead.
They made their debut in porn. Therefore, it's going to be Artoria from Fate's Day Night.
Yeah, all right. I'll allow it.
Yeah. I vetoed it from...
video games.
Yeah, because I don't think visual novels which are porn count as video games. I really don't. I should know. I've played a fair few.
Yeah. You need a computer to play it on, but yeah, sure. You can't just play it on your phone.
I think you could just play it on your phone, but yeah.
Oh, these days you could. Like there's like visual novel emulators that you can just plug a visual novel into as long as it's made in that engine and it'll just run.
That's fair, considering how many visual novels are just Renpy games nowadays.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Renpy in particular, yeah. So there is just like a Renpy runner for Android.
Yeah. I can't say I particularly want to play hentai on my phone, but different folks, different strokes. Haha. But yeah, Artoria's moveset is quite obvious, really. Just rip any of her movesets from any of the games. I'd probably actually straight up just take the animated sprites for her attacks out of Fate Go.
Yeah. And fair enough.
Obviously, her finishing move would be her releasing her Noble Phantasm, Excalibur.
I think it's pronounced Ekusu Kariba.
Yeah, sure, I'm going to be racist, that's fine. Yeah, she does put an extra syllable in there, but that's fine. It's one of those. Yeah, like, not much to say, really, except I will point this out. I have seen the screenshot of a frame from Fate Go, or not Fate Go, sorry, Fate Stay Night, where she shows her back to the protagonist, and she's saying, no, what man could love such a muscly and toned back? And it's a generic anime girl's back.
Yep.
Which is incredibly disappointing, because I like muscular women.
Yes. When I logged into YouTube today, it was I was greeted by a muscular lady in the YouTube shorts.
I mean,
it was every tomboy's fantasy is having the muscular body, having the muscular body, having the muscular body, wearing a baggy t-shirt, having a muscular body.
I'll never get over that one woman who has a video of herself on YouTube just squashing a melon between her thighs. I don't know why, that drives me mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I digress. Artoria definitely gets in there. It's going to be one of those rare picks where it's not, even though she debuted in a hentai game, her moveset and her finishing stuff is not hentai related. That being said, Rick, who is your third pick?
Well, they're not all hentai. They're meant to be from adult media, and sometimes it's adult for different reasons. I'm going with someone you might not know, Lady Death, and it's not the Lady Death that you definitely do know.
You're going to have to tell me where they're from then.
So she's also from comics. She's from Eternity Comics, which then got sold to CrossGen and then to Avatar Press. They're all R-rated comics, and she's basically a goth version of, the heavy metal, where it's just chicken bikini with sword.
You're going to have to send me a picture of this character, because if I type in Lady Death in Eternity Comics, I might get the right image up, but I'm not going to know.
So I'll be sending you an image of this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's incredibly violent.
As you'd expect.
And that's why the comics are R-rated. For a stage, I believe she goes to hell quite a lot. The reason she's got the powers of death is because she defeated Satan at one point. And I just think it's a cool thing to have as a warrior sword lady.
We've got a lot of sword users in this fucking list, Rick.
We do.
I was expecting her to at least have a fucking scythe.
Apparently, well, she might have a scythe when she's using the power of death, but when she's just fighting normally, she just uses a big old fucking greatsword.
Okay.
But yeah, how about you? Who's your number 4?
Well, no moveset, no finishing move, just generic, really.
Yeah, just a generic pick of someone from something really violent who gets to be really violent.
Fair enough. My next pick was a pretty obvious pick. I'm going for Q from Hunipop.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, she's human-sized, so it's not too big of a deal.
I'm going to say she's not typically very violent, but I guess she does stir up people's passions.
Yeah, she's not particularly violent, but her moveset could rely on... she could be like a Quan Chi type of character, where all of her moves are magic-based. Granted, Quan Chi summons skulls and can summon up a fucking shadow sickle, but, I'm sure Q could turn her powers into a more physical representation of lust and love. She says love, but it's lust.
Like a big old heart spirit bomb.
Yeah, that could be a finisher or something, but yeah, I'm picturing just firing, like, basically she could just throw weak-ass punches, but her fists glow, powered by love/lust, so they do actual damage,
Yeah, like she enchants her fist with, like, phantasmal hearts or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Basically some bullshit.
Yeah.
You could pick any...
Like, I was going to say, I can actually see her using the different elements that she has, like sentiment and lust.
That's just a different colour or different symbol, so...
Yeah, but like cycling through them so they do different things, like low attacks, high attacks, all that.
If you want to be fancy with it, I probably wouldn't bother. People aren't playing this game for the in-depth combat.
Yeah.
Many of these people are playing the game one-handed. But yeah, yeah, you could pick any stage or location from Hunipop or Hunipop 2. Not Hunipop Studios, because it's boring, but pick any location from one of those two games and just have that be the background. I quite like the idea of the beach resort from Hunipop 2, Double Date.
Yeah. Just generally that entire resort is, like, nice, but, like, the beachfront bar is possibly one of the more iconic places out there.
But yeah, her win pose would be her doing what she does best, and that is claiming the loser's panties. If it wasn't a woman she bested but a bloke, she'd probably just pull her face and be like, "Ah." But yes, don't forget, as claiming to be doing this out of the goodness of her heart / for the need of love that she is, Q's ultimate goal has always been to accumulate panties.
Yeah, and she passes that desire on to the player.
Yeah.
Your job now, go do.
But yes, what about you? Who's your 4th pick?
My 4th pick is, we're ramping up the incredible violence. We're going with Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower.
Rick's being a coward.
Yep. And yeah, she's obviously one of the most highly regarded fights in FromSoft.
It's another incredibly fucking sword character.
She's got two of them, and she puts them together, and like I don't know, she explodes into not Black Flame, that's Black Flame Frida, but like into Super Blood. Blood everywhere. The clock tower itself is the perfect stage for it.
I'm just saying, Rick's being a coward by not using. He's not once touched the hentai field. I also got to ask: is Bloodborne rated M?
It is.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for the sheer amount of blood in it, Bloodborne is rated M.
I don't think it's got anything to do with the blood, because you've got bloodier video games that get away with it.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think part of it is that you're causing the blood up close and personal.
No, I think most of it is because of the cosmic horror, Rick, but sure.
Yeah, like the visceral attacks will cause blood on you at full force. But yeah, how about you? Who is going to be number 5?
Oh, you're not going to expand on that at all? Just Lady Maria, she's going to do her boss fight, but in 2D form. Is that basically where we're ending on that?
Well, more or less. If you really want to have the doll as an alternate costume, cool.
I don't think that would work, really, would it?
Nah, because she don't fight. But then again, you know, alternate costumes be alternate costumes.
Yeah, but I more mean that I think the doll's costume would get in the way of most of her moveset animations.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see like the feet quite so easily, which is not the most important thing for what she's doing, but I sees it. Yeah, there's different styles that she has. She's got she's got 2 swords, or she's got the Rakio in 1 sword form, and then she's got her limit break form when she actually starts going super bloody, which is probably going to be when you're below half health.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, how about you? Who's going to be your number 5?
My number 5 is Morrigan. No, not that Morrigan. Morrigan from Friendship with Benefits.
Okay.
Friendship with Benefits is a My Little Pony parody porn game.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, while doing research to think of a character to take from that game, the creator is fishing for ideas for a sequel, so that's exciting.
Cool. Man, that game is the game that keeps on giving. It's really fun.
It is
I think you got it for my birthday at one point.
Yeah, I got it for your birthday, but at the same time I was like, I want to talk to someone about the big fucking twist, because despite being a hentai game, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you've not played that game, I'm now going to spoil the twist. Morrigan is the big secret big bad. She is basically the game's version of Cresselia. And, she's secretly been manipulating basically the whole town into trying to usurp the kingdom. And you, as the player, can serve her, which is a really bad ending, and you should not do. I didn't pick that ending. I looked at that ending via the crystal orb at the end of the game, and it's like, boy, that's fucking grim. But yeah, she's basically. I know we give cloppers shit. By the way, this game is all the ponies are humanized, so it's basically just
yes, they are
furry bullshit as opposed to clopper bullshit. Don't know what a clopper means? Look it up. I'm not explaining. But yeah, It's one of those where she could have movesets involving tentacles. She could just straight up have magic, a mix of magic and tentacles. I think she could even be a boss character at the end of an arcade mode and give her a real bullshit moveset if you wanted to. But that'll take a bit more planning than none.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think depending on who she beats, the end screen would have her either surrounding the opponent in tentacles and doing tentacle things to them, or forcing the character to breed with them.
Yeah.
No pun intended here, but that sounds exactly up her alley.
Indeed.
So, Rick, it's your penultimate pick. Who's it going to be?
My penultimate pick is actually from a hentai. It's Amano Jaku from the Overfiend. Have you heard of this?
No, Overfiend.
Yeah, so the DVD will show the Japanese name of Urotsuki Doji, which is just a big old word, and the English title is Legend of the Overfiend. There's like five or six movies of this, and it's very, very... I'm
sorry, 5 or 6 movies?
Yeah, I've seen 2 of them.
Rick, you fucking pervert.
I scarred a friend of mine for life by getting him to watch this, and he goes, okay, I now can't sleep because I'm imagining a demon breaking into my house and raping me and killing my girlfriend, or the other way around, and I don't know which is worse.
Okay.
Yeah, the demons in this are very rapey and very disgusting.
Oh, that's a sentence. Sorry. It's just I'm remembering Rick from like the first episode of first series of Rick and Morty going, "Oh, the pirates are real rapey, Morty. We do not sugarcoat it."
Yep.
Fucking hell. Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, there's different tribes. There's the demon people, humans, and there's the beast people. Amano is the strongest representative of the beast people. He wants the alleged main character to give birth to the other fiend.
The alleged main character, meaning they die in the process.
Well, more a case of he's actually the main character because the show like follows him rather than the person who he wants to become the father of the Overfiend.
Right, so Amano Jako is the protagonist, whereas the character he's trying to fuck is the heroine.
Yeah, well, he's trying to make the Chojin, which is the male main character, fuck a bunch of women and give birth to have the women give birth to the Overfiend. He doesn't care which woman it is.
This is certainly not a unique plot for hentai.
No, it's not. And one of the ways that they inject some conflict is that they get some random Eddie Brock type guy to take the guy's blood and semen and become his own mini Overfiend monster creature.
How does he take the blood and semen?
Well, the blood, I think the kid has got a cut on his face and he just licks it because he's being a bit of a creepo. And the semen he just gets given by a demon.
Yeah, okay, a bit too much for me, dog. And I've played Starless.
Yep.
That being said, this is another case of I don't want to Google that shit, so you'll have to send me a picture.
But yeah, Amano Jaku is more of a he's a bestial brawler. He basically looks human apart from a couple of whiskers on his face.
Okay.
So he'd be more a kind of martial arts kind of guy, but like Wolf Fang Fist rather than, I don't know, actual karate or anything.
Wolf Fang Fist is basically karate. It's just made up bullshit karate.
Sure.
Like, let's not sugarcoat things. Dragon Ball Z's bullshit, but like they do try and make it look like martial arts.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the stage that I can remember the most is the construction site, which sounds a bit shit, but also when you've got a construction site, you've got a lot of destructible scenery. You break enough pillars, the roof's going to fall on you, all that stuff. But yeah, how about you? Who's going to be is it going to be the last one, is it now?
It is the last one. We're on 6.
Yeah, who's going to be your number 6?
My number 6 is from the very first hentai I ever read.
Oh?
And because of the simple generic name of the hentai/doujin in question, it took me forever to track this down.
Okie dokie.
And I'm going to be, if you recognise the name, I will be astounded. My final pick is Sayako Bizen.
Don't think I recognise it.
Okay, the doujin in question is the Slut Girl series. Can you tell why it's incredibly difficult to track down a doujin called Slut Girl?
Yep, absolutely. Yep, oh boy.
But yeah, go on.
Yeah, like girl, which is, 50% of the population, and slut, which is like the most basic insult for someone who's promiscuous.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the way they use the term slut in the doujin in question as well, is that they're always calling Sayako a slut, even though she's really not.
All right.
In fact, she is quite literally the opposite. The start of the manga has her employed at a company, and she's a secretary for this really dickhead guy, but the dickhead guy is the company's founder's son, and she has to listen while he fucks about 7 other secretaries, and she finds out the only reason she's been moved to that particular division, especially as a receptionist, is because said dude also wants to fuck her, and she says no. She obviously leaves the company, and she also dicks over one of the receptionists and the creepazoid because she puts on a webcam to capture the footage, and it gets sent around the company. It's just desserts.
Yeah.
But that all being said, Sayako can throw fucking hands. She fights people more than once in the manga, so you could give her a generic brawler moveset. And she also rides a bike, so she can enter every scene riding the bike. It's very cool. It is very much a wish fulfillment sort of thing, where essentially the main protagonist is basically, she feels sorry for him, and that's why she fucks him. And then it turns out after fucking him, it's like, that is the best sex I've ever had, which I hate to break it to any of the younger potentially listeners, and even though you're younger, you're probably over 18 at least, I hope. It's probably not going to work that way the first time you pop your load. It's probably not going to be mind-blowing for anyone. But yeah, and by the way, this doujin series has 6 issues, so Slut Girl 1 to 6, and basically each issue introduces a new girl that gets friendly with the protagonist because they're trying to get back at Sayako, and then they realise, oh, Sayako's with this dude because his dick is so awesome. I'm not making this up.
Oh man.
And yeah, it pretty much ends with Sayako threatens to leave, and they make it look like she does, but she eventually comes back and she settles down with main protagonist Kun, whose name I forget, but who gives a fuck.
Yeah, protagonist Kun is generally good enough.
Yeah. For a stage, I definitely use the outside of protagonist Kun's house, because it's just a generic, when I say generic outside of Japanese apartment.
Yeah.
Like, it's in every single anime and manga ever.
Yeah, it's just that.
Exactly, man. As for a win screen, if she loses, she'd get fucked by whoever she lost to, and she'd look rather uninterested because she just doesn't care. If she wins, the character that she beats is knocked out, and she rummages through their wallet. That's
totally.
That's all I've got. And yeah, long live Slut Girl. Look it up. It's actually not a bad doujin. and you could look at it thinking, this is the first doujin that awoke something primal within one of our hosts.
Yeah.
So, Rick, we're finally here. Who's your final pick?
Well, we're going to have to use fan art for this because there's no official art for her.
Oh, dear.
But from Corruption of Champions 1, I'm going with Marble.
Is that the gargoyle?
Nah, she's the cowgirl, or one of the cowgirls.
Hang on. I'm vetoing this. We've done COC 1.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, we have. You Kiha.
Huh.
I've got the list up. Fill for time for 2 seconds. I'll get the list back up, but I'm pretty sure I saw Kiha on the other list.
Okay, Kiha was... I think we chose not to do Kiha because we'd already done some Phenoxo stuff that day.
Hang on.
Like, we've got Kasira and we've got Kiro Tamahime.
Okay, sure, fine, fuck it. I don't think Marble deserves to be in, but it's your pick, so sure.
Yep. She is a big, busty cowgirl with a fucking hammer.
Yeah, if you approach her and you're too buff and tall, she will fight you.
Yep.
But if you approach her and you're meek and slender, she will force you to drink her milk.
Yep. And her quest line is basically getting you addicted to it and then telling her that you're addicted. And she's like, oh shit, I didn't want to get you addicted, but I kind of did. Let's work on that, and then you get to recruit her by taking you back to camp.
Isn't this also the quest line where you can, originally, if you did it a certain way, she'd end up killing herself, and it got cut out, and the reason it got cut out was, and I quote, it made my boner sad.
Yes, exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, it's a porn game. Maybe don't make some of your subplots that fucking miserable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think she'd be a fun addition. A hammer is different to what a bunch of people are using in this. We do have a bit of over-representation on swords, just like in actual Smash.
I don't really care about the over-representation in Smash, but I care a little bit in our game, especially when most of them came from you.
Yeah, the other one I was going to pick was also a sword person, and you probably wouldn't have liked that.
Wow. Keep it for next time at this point. Although that being said, next time we might lighten up our rules about repicks. We'll see.
Yeah, because it's going to be the Street Fighter 2 Ultra Turbo Champion Edition at that point.
Well, so, no, we don't have to go the actual route of Capcom. We can just dump straight to free.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, rather than doing our MVPs and things, I think we normally like to talk about which one of the other presenters' picks they liked the best.
That's absolutely correct.
What would you say is your favourite one of my picks?
Well, I think you know because you took it from me.
Yep.
It stunk from Interspecies Reviewer. You could take any of the main three, but Stunk just seems the most natural to put in.
Yeah, he's the most main character. You got Zell, who's more of a wind mage, and you've got Kanchal, who's just another dwarf.
Yeah, and you can't really put Krim in because he doesn't really fight.
No.
But he does have a massive dick.
He does indeed. If anyone needs hosing, bring Krim.
Like, he also has both, but he doesn't tell Zell or Stunk that because he thinks they might do stuff, but I think it's painfully apparent that they wouldn't do stuff without consent.
Yeah. Like, by the time he's known them for long enough, then he probably could come clean about it, but, you know.
Yes, what's the point at that point?
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you? From my 6 picks, who do you think, who do you agree with the most?
I really like Morrigan.
From Friendship with Benefits.
Yeah, it's one of those where not only do I seize it, especially like as you described with the tentacles and shapeshifting and all that, it's also a case of if you know about this series, you are also degenerate, and she's the pick for me because I think she's possibly the most degenerate because it has to come from Brony fanfiction.
I get what you're saying, but literally my next pick was from a straight up hentai.
Yeah. I think this is more degenerate.
Fair enough. And on that bombshell, I think we're going to say goodbye.
Yeah. So, if you like the episode, you've got the comment section down below on YouTube. If you're listening via one of the audio platforms, you've got the email address, which is
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, for those at the back, it is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
Yeah. So, it's going to be a goodbye from me.
It's going to be a goodbye from me. Check out our awesome hentai recommendations.
Bye.